Hey everyone, this is Sandy. Welcome back to the B12 Deficiency Uncovered channel. I got a good one for you today. But before we get into this video, if you haven't watched the first two videos, then I highly recommend that you do so, because the series is designed to flow step by step, video by video. And that will make everything that I talk about much easier to understand. So, yeah, let's get into it. So far in this series, we've covered two really important points. First, having a B12 deficiency doesn't always show up in a low B12 number on the blood test. And in fact, in most cases, it doesn't. And second, a normal or even a high B12 blood level doesn't rule out a B12 deficiency. And for a lot of people, that alone is a huge shift in thinking. Many of you have been told that your labs look normal. They're fine. In a wide reference range that is way far too low anyways to begin with. And so your doctor tells you that your labs are fine, your B12 is fine. The problem is that you still know there's something wrong because you're exhausted, you got brain fog, you're still not yourself. You've done some research into B12, and everything you read about B12 symptomatically, you feel that you have a B12 deficiency. So the point of this series is to let you know that doing a blood B12 is not telling us the whole story. And if you suffer from symptoms of a B12 deficiency, chances are you have a B12 deficiency. And I know how incredibly confusing and frustrating and even discouraging it can be, especially when you feel that you've done everything that you possibly can to help yourself in terms of the B12, a potential B12 deficiency. You've took the supplements, you took the different forms of supplements, you were following people's advice, and like I said, you were doing your research, and it all made sense, but you still didn't get any better. And if this sounds like you, well, you're not imagining it. Because it means that a simple blood test doesn't tell the whole story. And that's what you need to understand, is that just because a blood test is normal, it doesn't rule out B12 deficiency. And I just want you to know that your body is meant to heal. It's not meant to be sick for the remainder of your life. It's just a matter of finding those pieces of the puzzle, put it together, and allow the body to heal itself. And I think once you understand that, then it's much less overwhelming. But you're also probably thinking still, how can I have a B12 deficiency if the blood test looks normal or even high? And that's the point of this video. Oh, and I forgot to mention that this video in the beginning was 18 minutes long. And so because of the amount of information that's in the video, I had to cut it down to 2 or 3 different videos. So this one is just sort of setting up what's to come. So instead of one full video, there will be 2 or 3 different parts of this video. So I hope you hang in here. All right, so before we go any further, there's just one key thing I want you to understand. When B12 isn't working, it's not because of some random chance or your body doesn't like B12. It gets blocked when upstream systems are under stress and they're not functioning properly. So which means that it's not working with your B12. So B12 is not being utilized for what it needs to be utilized for. And that's it. So there's a lot more to B12 in the blood. Believe me. And this is important because once you start seeing these upstream malfunctions or patterns, a lot of the confusion and the frustration and the discouragement will begin to clear up. So here's the big takeaway. B12 problems don't happen in isolation. It happens because other systems in the body are under stress, which interferes with the use of B12 in the cells. Now, even though many other nutrients are affected by these upstream problems, B12 seems to be affected first because it supports energy production, brain function, and nerve health, for example. And these are the areas that people start noticing slipping first when their system is under the stress. We always complain about how tired we are. And that's why B12 deficiency is so common in people dealing with chronic stress, inflammation, infections, gut problems, toxin exposure, and long periods of burnouts. And the important part is, this doesn't mean that all of these things are happening to you. It just means that B12 issues follow a pattern. And the patterns are something we can actually work with, but they need to be understood. So when we stop looking at B12 in isolation or a standalone deficiency, we start looking at what's interfering with the use of B12. It's in the blood, but what's interfering with its use? And that's what this entire video is about. Like I said, it's broken up in 2 or 3 different sections. And so we'll get right into that in the next video. We are going to break down the main systems into categories that block the use of B12 from doing its job. And in that way, it'll make more sense. So it's almost like the blood B12 test will just look like, hey, what's going on in my blood? It's there, but it's not being used. But you can still, I'm not saying it's useless, but I'm saying we can't go by that, because the fact is most people with B12 deficiencies have a normal B12 level. Anyways, in order to move on from this video, what you're going to have to do is like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's that simple. All right, I'll see you in the next video, and thanks for listening.